What's up, people? How everybody doing today? Welcome to the very first episode of Offside Podcast with me and June. We decided to come together and start our own, not to say that the play call's over because it's still the main thing. We just doing our own thing and we calling offsides, but we're gonna talk about little different things. We might bring in some boxing here and there as both of us are fans. Maybe talk about some basketball as it progresses closer to the playoffs and stuff like that. But the main thing is the main thing, and it's football. So June, what's up? How you feeling after yesterday's games? After this weekend's games, I should say.
Man. So first and foremost, like Frank was saying, it's awesome to be doing something like this and just keep engaging into what we like to do. Um, for those that didn't get it, had duty or just were somewhere, a happy belated Merry Christmas. New Year's around the corner. Um, but But shoot, man, starting this weekend off, it was pretty insane. But it was pretty insane with all these crazy games, the statements that there's certain teams were making, and at the end of the day, it boiled down to the game that we all were waiting for to see who's who in the zoo, especially when it came down to the NFC versus the
Mm-hmm.
AFC. Now that the 49ers are pretty much dominating the NFC and pretty much the entire NFL. And that is until last night. So Frank, man, just to get down to it, I mean, we had the Ravens and we had the 49ers. They were both 11-3. Um, I frankly had the 49ers edging out the Ravens. Seeing the Ravens play the Jaguars live last week and seeing that defense that the Jaguars have put in place against them, I thought that the 49ers were going to be very dominant on a defensive standpoint and
Mm-hmm.
that they were just going to get by offensively. But for the tables turned because it was a 180 from what I just said. It was the complete opposite. The freaking Ravens went in there very defensive dominant. They exposed Purdy to an extent, and now a lot of question marks are around Purdy. What do you think, Frank?
I had the 49ers winning, and I didn't expect when we recorded the play call, I said I'm picking 49ers, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Ravens win. But I was surprised in the manner they won, right? Um, I'm gonna agree with you. They exposed them. They exposed them and they brought him back to earth, right? And here's why. He only has 23 games he's played. 23 games. And because of the stats and because of how the team was bullying other people and rolling through, he was up there in the MVP discussions, right? And it's like we forgot about people like Lamar and even though Mahomes is struggling, but Mahomes, Jalen down over there in Philly. So we're giving him all these praises, right? And we forgot that he's still new to the game. He only got 23 games started. He's a seventh round pick. He's not that tall. But because of that offense, it was crazy. We gave him all this praise, and now it's like, bro, yesterday he looked lost. Two picks weren't his fault, and two picks were his fault. And you got to give the Ravens defense credit. Man, Clowney looked like his old self again. They were coming in there, they were getting after him. It was like it reminded me of the Ravens of old, right?
Mm,
So, and I'm gonna tell you why. Uh, when the Ravens would play my team in Foxborough, that was one team that if we had to see in the playoffs and they would come into our house, I'd be a little nervous because they
mm,
they weren't scared. They didn't play scared. You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
they when the Ravens come to you, they didn't care. Your house, my house, you still gonna get whooped. And that's what they did to the 49ers yesterday. I mean, they caught them, they hit them with everything they had. My only concern before I pass it back to you is did they show their hand too much? And was the 49ers keeping their playbook a little conservative at times? Because you had CMC still ran for over 100 yards. So why wasn't you rushing the ball more? You know what I'm saying? We talked about this last night on FaceTime, and I said a lot of times when teams know they're going to see each other again, they don't play their whole hand. If I know I could lose this and I'm still in control of where I'm at, okay, I'm gonna go in, do what I got to do. A lot of times when you play each other and you got to see each other again, the team that lost um, does the more adjustments because they had to change a few things to be better. You know, the team that won feels like, well, we ain't had to change anything then. Apply pressure, keep doing what we're doing, but I already got hit by you, so I felt your punch. I saw you was coming. I can prepare now. You know what I'm saying? And now that I know how it feels, I can get ready for it. Sometimes can make a big difference in a rematch. But what was your take? I mean, we was watching the game together, so I mean, how do you feel about it?
We both agreed before when it comes down to if you're a team that has massive amount of turnovers, there's no way, especially if you're playing a decent game, a decent team, there's no way you're gonna come with this W. There's no way. And I mean, they had total 5 interceptions total yesterday, right? 4 from Purdy and 1 from
And
oh buddy, um from Darnold, right? So I mean that's 5 turnovers, right? From the head honcho and the offense. Um, there's no way. Aside from everything else, at one point or another, I was gonna kind of blame the time of possession. I was like, man, well, you know what? Maybe Baltimore had just more time than they did with the ball, so that's why they were so dominant. When realistically, they only had the ball 3 more minutes than they
mm-hmm.
did. So, I wouldn't say that they were kind of showing their hands. I think that the pressure was on, and I think Shanahan now had to change his strategy against Baltimore. And whatever changes and adjustments that he was making, they kept failing in every angle. And and it's something that they needed. They needed a punch in the gut for those 49er fans. I love you to death, but you needed that too, damn it. Because I got tired of hearing it. A lot of folks got tired of hearing it. And it was bound to happen. Because if it didn't happen last night, it would have happened in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And it would have hurt 10 times more then. I mean, they were pretty like they were almost the same when it came down to a lot of stats. I mean, first downs, 23, the Ravens, 49ers had 21.
Mm-hmm.
The third down efficiency, again, 4 for 11, 6 for 14. Rushing yards, yeah, the 49ers had a little bit more. They had like 19 yards more. They both rushed for over 100. One had a little bit more than the other. Passing yards, 49ers, again, they had more passing yards.
Mm-hmm.
And they had more total yards. Crazier thing was the Ravens had 2 more sacks than the Niners did. And the only thing was that the Ravens executed at a more proficient team effort than what the 49ers did. Massive collapse last night. So we'll see how they bounce back, in my opinion.
People don't realize I was trying to pull up the highlights, man. It always does that. I don't know why. I hate that. But you know, the thing is Lamar, man. Um Lamar is what, like 21-2 or something like that. I don't know. He's against NFC. This dude's damn near unbeaten. He's undefeated, damn near. When it comes down to these teams and all this other stuff, they Lamar, and a lot of people say this. Obviously I don't play football, but I'm starting to hear it a whole lot more. And it's that basically, man, when you face Lamar Jackson, you don't know what you're gonna. You don't realize how much of a powerhouse athlete he is until you get there and you're playing him. And you know, I'm gonna give him his props. A lot of people had him how you call that? They were knocking him, oh, he can't throw the ball. He's a runner, you know, he doesn't have no pocket presence. And yesterday, I don't know how many yards he had rushing, but it wasn't a lot because at one point I was like, man, they need to be rushing him even more. But he did good, man. I mean, he did great. I don't even think he threw a pick yesterday. I don't think he had a turnover at all. I'm trying to look up the stats right now. Um,
For,
but I'm
for Lamar?
yeah.
No. So Lamar, yeah, Lamar ended up with 252 passing yards, 0 picks. he got sacked twice, and he had 2 touchdown passes.
Yeah,
And he added 45 yards on the ground on top of that.
yeah. I mean, and like you said, total yards, the 49ers had him beat. 429 total yards. But you said something earlier, and it's something we talk about all the time is turnovers are gonna kill you, right? You could probably overcome 2 or 3 turnovers, but you start talking about 4 or 5. And they there was another one that Purdy threw that should have been caught that it hit the defender, I think, in the head and went through his hands and hit the helmet and he bounced off, so he didn't catch it, which should have been an interception. So he would have had 5, would have been 6 total interceptions. You know, give credit to Lamar and the Ravens, man. They went across country. They heard the screams. They were 6.5-point underdogs going into this game, and they went in there and showed out. And you know what? They put the team on notice. They put the team on notice. They definitely let people know we coming to play, and they're the #1 seed right now. So if that stays true, and you got to go through Baltimore in the cold in that area, you know, and see this team, I would hate it because you know what, man, they're a tough out. They're a tough out, and I think he knows it, man. I think he knows that this year is his year. There's no Burrow. You know, Mahomes is not playing great. Josh Allen, them struggling. Herbo's out. You know what I'm saying? So all the names in the AFC that he would have to worry about are not really something to worry about. So timing's everything, and I think that the Ravens right now are in the best position to make that run to the Super Bowl. I would be surprised if they don't make it, man. To be honest.
All right, 100%, bro. 100%. So, so it's safe to say right now that the 49ers have some groundwork to make up, and let's see how they bounce back because as we've seen, this has been a wild season so far, probably one of the wildest we've probably seen. Which takes us on to the next topic, right? And the next game, right? It's kind of interesting because someone once said, right, on one of the networks, you know, this team in particular is getting beat up in a lot of different ways. However, they're almost beating themselves. And last night they clearly proved what the definition is of beating yourselves. And we're talking about the Eagles versus the Giants game, which was it was a good game actually, you know. And I knew that regardless of the Giants record, it was a division game. And every time it's a division game, it doesn't matter who's who in the zoo, whether it's the Titans or the Jags or the Eagles versus anybody in the East. It's always going to be a game because they got each other's number.
Yeah.
So even though the Eagles made it a close one, that's a definition of how to beat yourself. What do you think about that game?
I didn't watch the whole game. I was watching movies with my daughter, but I had it on the iPad. I was, you know, just watching some stuff here and there. So we talked about this on the play call. I said, hey, you know, what do you want to see as an Eagles fan? Do you want to see a dominant performance, or do you want to see a team just win and get and figure it out? And I felt like that's what they did. They just won. It wasn't dominating like we were accustomed to seeing. I'm not going to close the door on them, especially when you saw the 49ers do what they just did. You know what I'm saying? Which was nothing. That means it's still wide open. If the 49ers were to beat the Ravens convincing, like the Ravens beat them, then I would be like, oh, man, Eagles got to get it way together because them guys over there. And granted, they played each other already once and the 49ers blew them out. But still, it's different in the playoffs when you get there and you got time to fix the kinks. I'm happy with the win. I picked them to win. So I'm happy they won because if they would have lost this game, it would have been hard. I think that team already has enough on their plate. Lose to the Giants, you're looking at, man, you know, that's 4 in a row, right? 4 or 5 in a row now, and where we at? You know, so I think the mistakes that the Zacchaeus, the dude Zacchaeus, right? Zacchaeus, whatever his name is, he bumped into the guy, fumbles on the return. You can't make those mistakes against teams that can put up points. The Giants, you know, they took advantage, but just try, imagine doing that with the 49ers. Imagine doing that with the Lions. People that can move the ball and you give them a chance like that, you might not recover. You know what I'm saying? Momentum matters. Momentum matters. And those mistakes can't happen, like the Jalen Hurts sliding inbounds instead of going out of bounds. And what helped that was they thought he fumbled, so they had to stop it. And and he got away with it. He got away with one there. And those are simple mistakes that we expect him not to make. But understand that this is 30 in the league too. This is not he's not. Look, Brady forgot what down it was in Chicago at 20 something years in the league. Remember, Peyton Manning's had bad days. Drew Brees, all these Aaron Rodgers. Like all these great quarterbacks have bad days where they throw picks or they make stupid mistakes. So I just need to see a more dominant. I want to see them dominate one of these teams coming up. And you don't want to just get by, because by just getting by tells me you still have kinks there that you got to work out. And when you get into the playoffs, these teams, you might have one or two layups in there, maybe one or two. But any team, any given Sunday, man, anything can happen. You know what I mean? So I'm happy they won, but they need to tighten up those mistakes, man. They want, in my opinion, to get back to normal.
Right. And I agree with everything you said. I was more disappointed and concerned last week, and I continue to be disappointed more than concerned. They started the first half the way that any team that's trying to make a change in fans' mindset should have. They started very aggressive. They had the perfect plays drawn up, and I was like, all right, you know what? They're getting it together. It is what it is. In the process, Jalen Hurts sets the NFL record with most rushing touchdowns by a quarterback, right? By having 15 this year, which is great. Again, great stuff. So I'm over here being an Eagle fan, freaking calling it up over here. But then the second half started. In the second half, I'm like, good Lord, this is exactly what we talk about in the play call. With the second half being or Achilles heel. And the kickoff, Zacchaeus runs into Boston Scott. They grabbed it, they scored. I mean, we let them back in the game. So it was like a flip-flop in the scores, really, because in the first quarter, Eagles scored 7. Second quarter, Eagles scored 13. Flip-flop that. And now they scored 15, then they scored 7. And, in the fourth quarter, we got it together and we got it 13. And that's how we got the 33. However, it's too close for comfort. I like to see the progress and the aggressiveness. It kind of shows that, all right, they're trying to do something. But we'll see what they do against these Cardinals, because like you said, making those mistakes in the playoffs, they're only going to get you maybe past the first round.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're playing a good team, you're not going to get past the first round.
You can be one and done real fast if you don't tighten up that ship early.
Yeah, that's a fact right there. So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? High hopes for the Birds. However, they are the only team in the entire NFL to beat 4 teams with 9 wins records. Which again, it says something, but their playing is saying something completely different. So let's tighten it up and let's do better, because there's other teams out there that are making a statement, and that leads us to the next game. Browns versus Texans. I mean, you have a record-setting quarterback over there. That there's only 4 quarterbacks that has had over 300 yards above the age of 40 games, over 300-yard games above the age of 40, to include Brady. And we're talking about Flacco here, guys. Flacco, Blue Hen Nation.
Blue Hen Nation.
We're talking about Blue Hen Nation Flacco over here, man. And in the process, man, these Cleveland Browns, bro, they're making a statement. What do you think about that?
Well, first off, I think it's great. I think it's dope. So Flacco was talking after the game, and he looks happy. He looks happy. He looks content. He's like, man, this is a blessing. Just, a couple of weeks ago, I was home on the couch. I wasn't even playing football. And here he is taking a team that, for all intents and purposes, they thought was lost once Deshaun Watson went out again. And they had to go and get Flacco, and they doing their thing. Don't sleep. Don't sleep on the Browns, man. Defense wins championships, and he's playing good ball. He's had some turnovers, but he's had some touchdowns. And you know what? He can throw the ball. People forget that Flacco can throw the ball. He can get it downfield. He is a Super Bowl winner. You know what I'm saying, with the Ravens. So I mean, look, I'm excited. Again, the AFC, because timing's everything. Timing is everything. Mahomes and the Chiefs ain't playing well. Joe Burrow's gone, so the Bengals they just lost, this weekend. You have different things going on that can allow a team like the Browns that have that kind of consistency. Amari Cooper, over 260 yards in a game, set the record for the Browns. Like, come on, man. That the record that what's my man Josh Gordon had. He broke it, Wow, like you said, I'm pretty sure the Cowboys kicking themselves in the ass now, because look what he's doing over there with Joe Flacco. And the thing about it is, he was doing it with Deshaun Watson. He did it for whoever was interim between Watson and Flacco coming in, and he's doing Flacco. And if you see what the quarterback play does to a wide receiver, is amazing. A lot of us sometimes we say the receivers make the quarterbacks or the quarterback make the receiver. In this situation, I feel like they're enhancing each other. And he's using Njoku too, Flacco is. So, the tight end, which I used to have him in fantasy years ago, and he would kill it in fantasy. This year, he was kind of not non-existent. He had injuries too, but Flacco's using him. The offense is moving. The defense is playing great. Man, I'm pleased with it. And I know for Browns fans, it's got to feel good to have a winning record right now. You know what I'm saying? And not be the bottom barrel of the North or the NFL.
Yeah, it's insane, man. It's insane. With their fourth quarterback this year, for them to be making that type of statement, where are they sitting at in their division?
Well, they're 10-5 right now, right? So let's look at the standings. They are second, right behind the Ravens. So the Ravens already I guess was this at? The Ravens have clinched playoff. So the Ravens are going. Browns are in the hunt, I'm assuming. Let me look at the playoff picture right now. Hold on, right here, boom. So the playoff picture right now from NFL Network is the first seed is the Ravens, second seed Dolphins. They don't have the third and fourth, they don't have the other seeds filled in yet. But in the hunt is the Chiefs at 9-6, Jags 8-7, Browns at 10-5, the Bills are 9-6, and the Colts are 8-7. On the bubble, you got the Texans, Steelers, Bengals, Raiders, and Broncos. But eliminated, you had the Patriots, Chargers, Titans, Jets. So right now, the Browns are fighting for a wild card spot. That's what they're fighting for. They're fighting for like the fifth or sixth seed. So right now, if everything ended, you got the Chiefs getting in from the West, the South would be the Jags, and then the second team, well, the fifth seed would be the Browns, with the sixth seed being the Bills, if everything ended today.
See, that's it's a tight race over there, man.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting, man. I'm just glad to see this type of stuff happen in the NFL, man. I really am. You see a team that paid a quarterback $240 million guaranteed, right? And then you have a team like the Bengals. Again, we're not going to go too much into it. They're paying that man that money. Then you got another quarterback that's in LA that they're paying that man. I mean, we're talking about almost $1 billion getting paid in all these quarterbacks, and none of them are playing. and
Yep.
then you take the fourth string quarterback that you signed from fishing last 4 weeks ago, and he's taking this team to different heights. So that's cool, man. That's cool for the Browns. I hope they keep it going. That'll be pretty interesting. I almost feel like betting right now to see if something happens, because you just never know. I take that bet all day, even if I lose $100, I lose $100. You know, but if I make $1 million, I'll be back on here like it
Yeah,
ain't shit.
making me back on here smiling like, yes, look.
Oh man. So that leads me to the next game, which is pretty interesting, man, because it started really good, right? The whole Christmas break and everything like that started amazing, and we're talking about this Cowboys and Dolphins game, right? They're playing outside again, fellas. Tip of the week: practice outdoors.
Yep.
But that's the tip of the week, man. And let me tell you why. From my perspective, where are we at? Here we are, right here. I mean, they made it a really close game at the end. They didn't get blown out. However, I think Miami dominated the entire game until the last quarter. I think with a healthy Tyreek Hill, this game would have been a little bit more, you know, on the Dolphins side. But aside from everything else, I God, I hate to say it, man. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Damn Dallas haters, or Dallas fans. Let me tell you something about y'all. Let me tell you about something about these damn Cowboys, man. Every day I hear something about these Cowboys, and I'm like, good Lord, they played outside in Buffalo, and they just couldn't keep up with the weather.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in the cold. It's like, man, let me take that excuse from them. Let me keep them away from the cold. Let me put them in Miami, where it's a little bit warmer. What are they gonna say about that? It's still outside though.
Mm.
And with that being said, it was just a very dominant game. Miami needed that game just as much as Dallas. Sure, they both needed it, but I want to say Miami needed that game. Because I was one of the critics for Miami about they haven't beat a game above a team above 500, and if so, it's like one or two teams. It ain't that many. But a way to go, Miami. Way to do your job and help us out over here in the East.
This game, it was about the two teams that struggle to beat teams winning records. So somebody had to win, right? The outcome to this that would have been ideal would have been a tie, and they just can't even beat each other, right? So it's like, but that didn't happen. Looking at the total team stats, it's pretty evenly matched. Dallas had 339 total yards. Miami had 375 total. Passing yards, Miami had 284. Dallas had 242. Rushing yards, 97 for Dallas, 91 for Miami. Average yards per play was 6 each. They both had 6 yards per play. Points scored, that's the 20 and 22. So there goes the difference. Dallas had a fumble lost. Nobody threw interception, which is great. Sacks allowed. Dallas allowed 4 sacks, where Miami only allowed 1. Third down efficiency. This is where I think was big. Dallas converted 33%. Miami was at 46%. And time of possession, man, it was only 3-minute difference. Really, like if you really want to get technical, it was 2 minutes, and it was 31 minutes for Dallas and 28 minutes for the Dolphins. So they had the ball evenly, and penalties. Dallas had 6, Miami had 5. I just think it came down to who wanted it more and who made the right play at the right time. I'm not sold on either one of these teams. I think they'll make it to the playoffs. Obviously, Dolphins win because they got the East, but I don't see them going far. I'm not convinced Tua. And now that Waddle might be hurt and might be out for the rest of the season, that now you hindered it, because now I don't have to worry about double teaming 2 people. I can double Tyreek Hill, and now you got to beat me with everybody else. Which I know I'm saying it like it's easy. A lot of teams can't even do it. But again, the playoffs, the ones that are there are the ones that earn to be there. And I tell you what though, and this is going to sound crazy. The only way I feel comfortable with Miami going past the wild card or divisional rounds if they play the Jags. That's it. I think if they go up against any other team that has a strong defense and a good movement of the ball, they're going to struggle, unless they come in the house. that's different. But like if they have to travel to Buffalo, let's say, or they got to travel to Baltimore or something, nah, then they're done. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Um. Oh gosh, they tried, man. They tried.
Right.
They tried, man. But it was just like they couldn't stop, especially oh buddy at the very end. Them last two runs were really the dagger to was really the dagger to the game. And then when, like you said, let me see. Gosh, I'm over here trying to just had the stats up completely. Just went to bed. All right, here it is. Again, pretty similar, man. When it came down to a lot of these stats, they both, neither of them broke 100 yards rushing.
Mm-hmm. No, they
Uh,
did.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. I mean, shoot, Miami got sacked 3 more times than Dallas did.
That's what
I
I'm
don't know,
saying.
man.
It was you know, they kind of evenly matched if you think about it. They got Lamb and Cook on one side, Ferguson is a tight end. On the other side, you got
Mhm.
Waddle Hill. You have old boy, what's his name? Oh man, the way he be doing the punt returns, Burials, and you got your other people there. To me, Tua and Dak ain't that much different, to be honest. I mean, you know, so look 22-20. Cowboys lost. I think that's more of a knock on them. Miami won, and Miami's one of them teams that like Colin says, they're like the Gucci slippers, in Miami. They look so nice, but they don't go far because of certain things. So I mean, unless they tighten it up between now and the playoffs, there's a high-powered offense that if it's not clicking, it's not clicking. Um, much to say about them there. You know what I mean? They one of them had to win. You know what I'm saying? The only thing that would
Yeah.
have been worse is if they didn't win and tied, and we'd be like, oh my God, they can't even beat each other.
It's crazy, man. And what's his name? Mika Parsons was upset because of that holding call that they missed. But like I said before, these calls, even though they may have missed that one call, they missed that one call when Dak grabbed old buddy's helmet and they gave him that roughing the passer. So
Mhm.
Mika, stop crying, my dude. You already know that these damn penalties, they offset, so to speak, when it comes to what's missed and what's called in the game. They clearly missed yours. I've seen it, but they clearly missed Dax as well. So get over it, my guy. If you want to talk about it, you're more than welcome to come on here. You play the game, I don't, but I do watch you play it, and I do watch them calls too. I don't gotta be playing the game to see what's going on. So,
I
best
mean,
of luck to you in your career.
we watch boxing, and one thing in boxing they say don't leave it to the judges, right? Don't leave
Mm-hmm.
it to the judges. If you're gonna go in there and play, you're gonna fight. You better fight to win, and you better do it convincingly or knock them out. Well, 22-20, you're leaving it to the referees now because it's not convincingly, and don't cry about one play when there's so many plays that gets missed. We'll watch a bunch of games together on FaceTime or on Zoom, and we're all calling, oh, that's a hold, or that's this, or that's that. Anytime a quarterback scrambles out the pocket, there's a hold somewhere. There's a hold somewhere, especially if it's not a design play to roll. Like if the play is that, oh, we're gonna shift and we're gonna protect left because he's gonna roll left. Okay, fine. But let's say like Hurts or Mahomes or Lamar, Josh Allen, anybody that like to scramble, if it's not a design play where there's going to be a hole, bro. Think about it. If I'm blocking you, and at that point in time, Jalen decides to go somewhere else, and I know that if I don't grab you, he going to get hit. I'm gonna grab. It's just instinct. The problem is that depending where I grab you or where the referee's looking at, they might not catch it. So, like you said, for every one play they don't call, there's another one they don't call somewhere else. You know,
Exactly.
We talk about it all the time. Last year in the Super Bowl, that holding call on Juju, was it really? I mean, yeah, by textbook definition, he grabbed him. But did it impede the route? Did it stop him getting the ball? Was he going to catch it anyway? No. So why throw the flag, you know? But hey, it's the rules, and it is what it is, and we got to live with it. But again, don't leave it to one call. If you're going to put a team away, put them away. And you won't have to worry about holding, offsides, false start, roughing the passer, illegal hands to the face, shift. You know, people like Micah Parsons. I'm gonna tell you what I would do. I throw the flag, bro, every time. And the minute he look at me, I'm throwing the flag. Oh, I'm taking my hat
Everything.
off, and I'm ejecting his ass. Get out. And you're gonna learn that when I'm refereeing the game, you ain't don't talk to me. Leave me alone. Let your coach talk to me. You just fucking play.
Yeah,
Cause
go do your job. Go do what I pay you for.
go get a sack. You know what I'm saying? And how do these players have the time after playing a game to get on their podcast and record? Like they don't have curfew or something. They don't need to be sleeping. Like, dude, you need to focus on watching film. Is what you need
Yeah.
to focus on. Talking about a podcast. Say that for in the off season, but or do like LeBron does with the barbershop when he got he lets his friends do it. He comes on every once in a blue to make an appearance, but 9 times out of 10 his peoples are doing the podcast or the show, and he comes on when he can, you know?
Man, I get it, man. Like I get it. Being having that distraction, but good Lord, go watch some film, man. Or go help your other folks that are struggling in their positions
Yeah,
to
correct.
to do their thing.
Be a
Go
good
talk to
teammate.
Zach. Go talk to Dak and
Yeah.
go tell him don't grab nobody's back of the helmet because they're gonna call it next game. but shoot, man. Fun game to watch, man. So far, I mean, there's a lot of good games this
Mhm.
last couple of days, man. But we like to talk about the rise and the fall, and we're not talking about Transformers here. We're not talking about Transformers. We're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars, right? God, man, the Jacksonville Jaguars. I like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm actually here, so I like the Jags. I like for the city to do well. I like Doug Peterson, Eagles head coach that brought us that Super Bowl. They had a great ending to their story last year. They had a great beginning to their story this year by starting 7-3, but the fall is showing, and it's showing, and everybody is seeing because they're 8-7 right now after starting 7-3, and I think right now they're in first place in their division. However, the Colts are 8-7 as well, so they're a loss away from giving everything up. And shoot, man, and from what I was reading, the stadium isn't signed off because the city hasn't the city hasn't 100% confirmed it. So
Mm.
they don't tighten up, we might just be going to the Jacksonville Jaguars game next season in that same stadium.
Mm.
What do you think about the rise and the fall of the Jacksonville Jaguars?
So, beginning of the season, I said some people favored them to be the number one seed. They had Trevor going be MVP. I thought they were going to do a lot better than what they were last year. They showed us that they can play. Doug Peterson, did have an influence. But this year they started off great, and like our friend Nikki on the play call talking trash. Oh, Jacksonville Jaguars, and they gonna win, and we can't lose, and all this other stuff. And wow, the last 5 games they're 1-4.
Hmm.
They're 6-5 in the conference. I think what helps them out with against the Colts is that they swept the Colts already. So, but I mean, if the Colts went out with a better record, that's something different. It has to balance out, right? Remember, we had that big ass powwow that I said, "Oh, if you win your division, you go in," and they were like, "No, that doesn't mean you. That's not true because it's total wins." And me and Bree was like, "That's crazy," but man, the question is Trevor the problem? You got Calvin Ridley, you have ETN, you have Evan Ingram, you have Christian Kirk. He's hurt now, but you had him. You got Zay Jones. I don't even know what position he was drafted in, but between Ingram, ETN, and himself, Trevor, that's 3 first-round picks there. And then you go and you get Christian Kirk from the Cardinals, who's a second-round pick. So you have talent. Evan Ingram's not your average tight end. He's more like a pass-catching tight end. He's like a Kelsey, you know. I think he has more ability, and like he's faster than Kelsey, I think, you know. Um, it speaks a lot. Is it that the offense is too complex for him? Right now, Trevor's sitting at I want to say 10 interceptions on the season. You know, it's funny because when we talked about on the play call, and they brought up the comparison between Mac Jones and him, you know, Nicky was quick to be like, oh, we'll see who has a better career at the end. But right now, he threw for 12. He's at 12 picks right now on the season, 12. 12. He has 19 interceptions. Last time he had a bad season like that was his first year, 2021, where he had 12 touchdowns and 17 interceptions. Right now, if he's averaging, let's say, 2 a game, he has 2 more games to go. That's 4. That put him at 16. And they benched him because he was hurt, his shoulder. I think they benched him because he was playing sorry. And they didn't want to say, oh, we benched him to save face. So they just say, oh, he's injured shoulder or whatever, so he's not coming back in the game. Look, you know, people, I don't say much when it comes to certain things because my team is losing. And you know, I don't want people to think I'm a hater. But it's hard to maintain success in the NFL, okay? And eventually it's going to get figured out. Teams are going to get better and you're going to struggle. And it's up to that team to find a way to come together. I don't think they're playing together. I think that Trevor is the problem along with some of the play calling, but I'm going to put on the quarterback. You got Calvin Ridley. You got other people, Evan Ingram. You got ETN. You have a good offense. You have a good defense. But when you're giving them picks and you're going 3 and out, you're not even giving time for the defense to rest and get back to normal. They got to get back out on the field again. So that's my take on it, man. They'll make the playoffs probably most likely. I would love to see the Colts jump them, not going to lie, or the Texans. Just because I think people need to be humbled. You know, if the objectivity is just to have a winning season, then you're
Right.
aiming low. You're aiming low. The object every season should be Super Bowl, Super Bowl, Super Bowl. And when you're building and like you said, they're trying to get a new stadium, all that good stuff, and you're not providing that, you know, listen, I'm disappointed in his performance, and I'm tired of sitting here and letting people spin a narrative like, oh, we could have won, we could have did this. No. Yeah, I just got sucked. Yeah, got blown out this last game. There's no the Tampa Bay Bucks, and I was looking at the stats, bro. Like, it wasn't that much of a difference when it came to the stats. They had the yardage was kind of fair. It just came down to play, and when you throwing picks and like, you know what they say, some teams let you get the ball from the 20 to the 20, you're gonna do fine. But when they get to that red zone, it gets tightened up, and now you're not gonna get nothing. And that's what pretty much looked like happened to them. They ain't scored no points into the 3rd and 4th quarter. They went for 2-point conversions and missed both of them because they had 6 and 6. Tampa scored 3 in the first, 17 in the second, 10 in the third, and none in the fourth. The team stats wise, Trevor was 17 of 29, man, with 211 yards, one touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Total yards, Tampa had him beat by 30. So Jax had 305, Tampa had 335. Passing yards, Jax had 268, Tampa had 265, 3 yards. Rushing yards, they only had 37 rushing yards, Tampa had 70. Average yards per play was even 5 and 5. Points scored, already know that they had 2 lost fumbles on Jacksonville, 2 interceptions thrown, 4 sacks allowed to 2 sacks allowed to the Tampa Bay. Tampa didn't even turn the ball over once. No interception, no fumbles. Third down efficiency, Tampa was converting 52% of their thirds down, bro. 52%. They were only 33% in Jacks. Time possession, that was big. 37 minutes for Tampa, 22 for Jacks, and then penalties. This is where the Bucks messed up. Bucks had 6 penalties. Jacks only had 2. But when your quarterback's playing like crap and giving the ball over and not, you know, doing what he gets paid to do, which is move the ball downhill, it's you know, it is what it is. We'll see what happens next couple of days.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's disappointing. It's disappointing. It's disappointing. You really think it's disappointing. It's concerning. I'm gonna use both of those in one. It's not either or. I think it's disappointing and concerning. From the kicker all the way to the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
And even though Christian Kirk is hurt, like you said before, you still got Ridley. Washington, he's a rookie, but he's shown. I'm not gonna say he's shown like AJ Brown type of talent caliber, but he's shown enough talent to make that team and make those critical catches in the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So as the nucleus of the problem, that damn quarterback. Hate to say it, man, but all fingers are pointing to Trevor.
He's fumbling the ball, throwing interceptions, man. He's the problem. He is the problem. You got the Doug Peterson's second year with you. The first year y'all went to the playoffs, made it past the wild card to the division rounds, and lost to the Chiefs. You know,
Right.
It's on you. It's on him all day, every day.
It's pretty interesting, man. It's pretty interesting. Wishing the best of luck. I hope they turn this thing around because the playoffs are around the corner. And now Trevor Lawrence hurt his shoulder in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's had a couple of injuries, so I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen with them boys, but they need to tighten up and tighten up fast. And I don't know, Frank, man, the last game I wanted to talk about, unless you got another one you want to talk about, they want to give a huge shout out to the Detroit Lions because since 1893 they have not made they haven't won their division, and they won it. So huge shout out to them.
Yes.
Huge success, huge accomplishment, and we all seen the fall. And now we've seen the rise.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of backwards with Jags' story, but we've seen the fall of the damn Lions, and now we've seen the rise, and now they're a legitimate contender heading into the playoffs. So shout out to the Lions. They beat the Vikings 30-24 in Minnesota, and Minnesota needed to win that game to maintain their pace in the playoff contention. So again, one of the players over there that stands out, even though the head coach stands out, obviously, but one of the players is Jared Goff. He's faced a lot of adversity. I think that was real dirty what happened to him in that situation, how he ended up over there, because they probably thought that he didn't have it. He was probably going to be a bust, but now he's able to establish himself in the Lions history and lead that team to the playoffs. So shout out to the Lions. Super dope, super dope. What do you think about that, Frank?
Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell changed the environment there. That whole culture changed with him. We've seen his struggles. We've seen him go through the low just to get to where he's at now. Like you said, for Goff to come there and trade, yeah, Stafford got the ring, but Goff is doing something Stafford never did, which is get him a home playoff game. In 35 years, they haven't had that. They won the North. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is monumental, what's happening here. And it's going to lead me to the game I want to talk to next once we're done with this one. But it ebbs and flows. You know, every dynasty has a high, has a low. Every organization has a come up, has a low. Some sustain it longer than others. Some stay at the bottom. But culture changing with Dan Campbell being a tight end. He was a player that turned coach. His attitude, what he brings to the table, Goff coming there, not allowing the trade to get to him, them adding the pieces, Gibbs, because they let Swift go because they had Gibbs. And then Amar-St. Brown over there. I forgot the tight end's name, but Laporta. They just got it, man. And the vibe that you can tell the difference in these teams that have players as coaches. Look at the Raiders with Antonio Pierce. It's like, man, the vibe is different. And it's not, I don't know if it's because the players know, well, you played, you understand what I go through with these drills and these workouts and the emotional turmoil. It's hard when we never played it to understand what they go through. We know if I'm a head coach, I'm putting hours in because I'm trying to come up with the right game plan. But I'm not the one in the field getting punched, getting hit, getting thrown to the floor, getting hit low on the thighs. I'm not that guy. So, I'm not taking no punishment. They are. So shout out to them, man, to see the hard work provided. And they got a good game coming up. They're playing the Lions. I mean, they're playing the Cowboys this week. I think they can go in there and roll them. I think it'd be a good turn. I mean, even though the Cowboys are damn near unstoppable at home, but Lions are one of them teams in the NFC, man, that can catch you off guard. We've seen Goff throw 3 interceptions in the game and still come back and win. So we can't just close the door on it either. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. No, I got you. And shoot, Frank, that's those are the games that stood out to me the most coming into this week, into this weekend, to this Christmas break or whatnot, and now when things are starting to get heated, right? All these teams that we went over so far, they got something to prove and they got something to tighten up this week. If not, it's going to be a very interesting playoff run and a very interesting wild card first round for some of these teams.
The one I wanted to talk about, or the team I should say, is the Chiefs. We talking about rising. The Chiefs right now are not looking like the Chiefs. Chiefs, and first time in Mahomes' era, he had 6 losses in a season. First time in his era, he had 2 losses back to back. Mahomes' numbers, I don't even know what they look like right now, but I'm pretty sure it's not the best. And I've been, the only reason I went hard on Mahomes so early had nothing to do with Mahomes. He never did nothing to me. First off, is Nick Wright. I hate people like that. They make you hate, and not hate people, but they make you not like the player, right? Because of how they do things. But the other thing is timing. I've been saying this. When he started the league in 2017, Andy Reid already started having a team in place in there. Remember, Alex Smith couldn't get him far in the playoffs. That's why they drafted him. And he comes in, he plays one game, he wins one game. That game he went 22 of 35 with 284 yards, no touchdown, interception, but they must have won because he got a 1 on his side. So his full season start was 2018, 12-4 record, 50 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. 26 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, 38 touchdowns, 6 interceptions in 2020. 2021, 37 to 13. 2022, 41 to 12. And now 2023, he has 26 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. He's probably the lowest numbers. He's probably going to finish out with the lowest numbers. No, he'll pass 2019. But I think now it's getting exposed. What I mean by it's getting exposed is when Tyreek Hill left, we said, oh, he's not going to win, but he won. But he had Juju. Juju had 1,000 yards that year, which people don't want to give him credit, but he had 1,000 yards. That 1,000 yards makes a difference. Now you don't even have that. If we pulled up the team, I'm pretty sure the only wide receiver close to 1,000 yards is Travis Kelce, and he's a tight end, and he's not even playing the same. So I've always said this about Mahomes. He just landed at the right place at the right time with the right coach. And when you have that and you have a system, you're going to win, especially when other teams are trying to get right. So going back to like the Lions getting right on the NFC side, look now, when Burrow's there healthy, the Bengals look unstoppable. Look at Lamar. Lamar's like, yo, y'all disrespecting me. I'm a unanimous MVP down here. And I've been rocking people the whole time. You got Josh Allen that when he decides to play and not turn the ball over, that team could be unstoppable too. If Justin Herbert can get it together, hopefully with new coaching, but you have teams out there that because of one piece or another, they wasn't a contender. Now these teams are contenders, and look, they look sorry. I'm not. He looks normal when his weapons ain't making him better, and I'm glad that you seeing it because at first he was getting all the credit, why that team was winning. Um, and not that. Look at Andy Reid. Everybody said Bieniemy wasn't calling the plays. It was Andy Reid. Some people say it was Bieniemy. Okay, Bieniemy's gone, and your offense is not high potent at all. They're not doing anything. They're not. They don't feel. Again, it goes back to you put fear in people's heart. They're not putting fears in nobody's heart. A lot of people know you. If you get Mahomes rattled, get him out that pocket, make him throw the throws that he doesn't want to throw. Take Kelsey out the game. Now you got to force him to go to these wide receivers. Kadarius Toney dropping passes. I like Rashid Rice, but he's still developing. He's a rookie. So, what's your take on the Chiefs? I think that they're not. I don't see them going far this season. They not at all. Not in the play. Not far
You
in
know,
the season.
it's kind of crazy, man. I'm almost gonna change the narrative a little bit when it comes to their issue. And as much as I love my Philadelphia Eagles and their players, Shady McCoy may not like this, but you got a head coach for a reason. And I don't think the head coach is making the proper adjustments as he should, because this problem has been going on for obviously 6 losing games. So coming in here, I mean, Pacheco, we both seen Pacheco's talent. We both seen how hard he runs. We both seen what he could do on the field. But my man had 26 yards yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
26 yards. I mean, are you that focused in your game plan to where you're trying to get all these non-receiving receivers make plays that you're losing sight of what you have as running backs, because you still got Edwards-Helaire still back there,
Mm-hmm.
and Pacheco, and both of them combined had less than 35 yards
Mm-hmm.
combined. So I think it's also a head coaching issue right here, and I think that Andy Reid, even though he's a great coach, I think at this part right here, he's facing a little bit of adversity with not just the quarterback that he has, but with the players around him. And I don't know if he's making the proper adjustments to get him past that hump. And with that play, they're not gonna get past the first round in the playoffs. I don't see it.
No, I mean, I'm glad you put out the coaching. It is coaching on top of that. Mahomes is too emotional on the sideline too. He got to get that under control. Like I know Brady got emotional, Peyton got emotional. A lot of people get it, and it happens. But it's very uncharacteristic of him. If we're being honest, they had as a team stat, and I can't believe this is actually accurate. Passing yards, they had 223 yards. The Raiders only had 48 yards passing.
That is insane right there.
Yeah, and it's true because Aiden O'Connell had 62 yards. So as a team, it was 180 yards more. You know what I'm saying? Than this. Then give me a second, June.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, so for you Chiefs fans out there, hey, you guys need to take a long look in the mirror.
Mm-hmm. Bro, so look, rushing yards. This is the difference, though. 157 rushing yards to only 85 on the Chiefs. So it makes me wonder where the rest of the yards came from. So, average yards per play, 4-4. I mean, it was a close game. It wasn't a blowout, but this is a team that they handled year in and year out with the Raiders. And that defense was relentless. Max Crosby was after him, bro. So, I mean, to me, it speaks volumes. The coaching, I think, is a problem. I think that's part of the issue. I think the frustration is settling in. Even just like last night with the Ravens, you could look at the 49ers sideline and the frustration was there. Purdy looked out of it. My man, what's the tight end? God, Jesus, I can't think of his name. Kittle was out of it. Debo looked frustrated. They were looking frustrated, especially Kyle Shanahan. And, I don't think they meant to get punched in the face. It was the same thing with the Chiefs. When you had all this winning and you're like always the favorites, you expect something. But you know what? Beautifully, Mahomes is human.
Mhm.
He made mistakes in the past. He's made bad decisions. The problem is that they find a way to win the game. So guess what? Nobody talks about it. Last year, if the questionable hitting him while he's going out of bounds. You throw the flag in the championship, they get the field goal, they go to the Super Bowl. Eh, You know, when he's known for not running out of bounds, he's known for acting like he's going to run out of bounds. And when you go to hit, if you don't hit him, he goes out. He comes back in. If you're going to hit him, he goes out. Some just like we talked about plays earlier with Micah Parsons complaining that the Chiefs were on a lot of good sides of favorable calls and a lot of their wins, a lot of penalties that were called to help them out or in their favor, I should say. And now you're not getting those. And look, you look mediocre, 9-6, and you're crying like a baby. I think it's coaching. I think he needs to mature too as a player. I think Kelsey's not himself, and being that Kelsey's not himself is hard. And maybe he's too focused on Taylor Swift or his body aching because he's always getting hit. But you're right, development is not there, and the coaching is not there.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I wish a lot of these players maintain their professionalism when it comes to certain things. Then I get frustration set, and the love of the game comes out sometimes. But at the end of the day, man, you're still a professional. The cameras are on you 24/7,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're not gonna take this advice, keep it up because we're gonna talk about you on the podcast.
Yeah,
So,
it's gonna get at least twice a week here and the play call. You're gonna get talked about, and then Bree
at a
Network's
minimum.
gonna talk about you too. So you got just stand by the standby, good buddy, because we're gonna talk about you.
Oh yeah, yep. But shoot, man, when it comes down to the games right there, it's gonna be an interesting couple of weeks right now. Now, in the upcoming week, let me see really quick here so I lose track. Golly, this thing done took me to my freaking other notes. But I'm talking about basketball together. Here it is. All right. Yeah, in the upcoming week, I mean, do you got any games that you think are make or break for certain teams?
Uh well, Lions Cowboys I think is one. Dolphins and Ravens is another one. Ravens win that. I think they clinched the number one seed. So and the Dolphins, where they're at. Bills and Patriots. Bills got to win in order to keep going. And we've seen the Patriots now win a game against the Broncos. Don't sleep on them because they can keep the game close and take the lead. So, but it's gonna be in Buffalo, so I don't expect that to happen. Last time but any given Sunday, right? So I think the Bills and let's see. Um, I'm not worried about the Jags. Rams at Giants. Rams need to keep making a push. Your team playing the Cardinals. I want to see, and the Saints and Bucks too. It's I think the game of the one. If you ask me which game I'm looking forward to seeing, then I'm gonna probably just say Eagles and Cardinals because I want to see the Eagles play that game, and Dolphins at Ravens.
You know, there's also a team here, man, which is pretty interesting to talk about. And this is a must win for both of these teams. And it's a must win for two reasons, right? One of them is kind of like it's not like a legitimate reason, so to speak, but it's a team reason. And I'm talking about the Steelers and the Seahawks game. They're both 8-7. They're both in the playoff run. And the reason I say this team is playing for two reasons. One is for the playoffs, and the other one is for that record of not having a losing season.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they lose this week, they're gonna go and play the following week with that chip on their shoulder. And if they lose that next game after this one, then I think that's that.
So
When it comes to that.
they got the Seahawks this week, and who they got
Mm-hmm.
next? Hold on, let me see. I passed it. I had to pass it if I can't see. Oh yeah, they got the Ravens. So yeah, they got to win this week because I don't see them winning next week unless the Ravens sit all their people out and call it a day. But so you brought it up, so I'm gonna speak on it. Bree was super happy that they won. And I told her, I said they gave you the game. Jake Browning had a bad game, interceptions, picks. It was a divisional game, like you said, with the Giants and Eagles. So they know how to play each other. So you got to be careful how much time or turnovers you give somebody. Mason Rudolph, who was under Ben Roethlisberger for 2 years, went out there and threw the ball well. Kenny Pickens had a great game. So, I mean, not Kenny Pickens, George Pickens had a great game. So, I mean, but not every team's going to give you turnovers like that. Not every team is going to give you the ball. So you got to really go out there and win the game. So let's see what they do now. They got 2 more games. And I would say difficult games because they got to go to Seattle for this one. And then they got to come and go to Baltimore for the other one. So they're not even home games. So they're done with their home games. They're out of pocket, OT, out of town. So we'll see. We'll see what happens there. That's a good one.
Yeah, that definitely is, man. Definitely is. So we'll see what happens with that. And Bree, I wish your team the best of luck. Because I was reading somewhere, I don't know how true it is, man. I think you posted it, bro. I think you might have posted it on the chat about Tomlin being their head coach betrayed or something like that.
Oh, they were there, but they told me they're gonna re-sign him. Brother Cruz put something in the chat about they're gonna give him an extension.
Mm.
They were talking about
I think
trading him for equity.
You know, man, I'm not a fan of stuff like that, but again, I think it changes the environment when it comes to seeing the same thing over and over again. And they haven't had a losing season, but they also haven't had a winning championship atmosphere with that type of record. And not knocking them, shout outs to them. Maybe they do need a change, but equal change.
Well, I mean, what are we playing for? Championships or winning seasons?
And that's exactly where I'm going to. You know,
saying, when's the last time they won a game in the postseason? I can't remember. So look, I'm about wins and championships, bro. That's me. I don't care. That's why, I forgot to write the note down so we could talk about this some other time, but or we could talk about it Friday actually. But it was, people were asking what Mahomes got, because Chris Collinsworth said that Mahomes got to win 4 or 5 championships to be in discussion with Brady. And he could win 5. It ain't gonna make a difference. He got 7. And something that Michael Irvin said to me that made a lot of sense. They played each other in the Super Bowl, and Brady beat them. Well, Brady beat their defense. The Bucs won. The conversation's over. You were at your prime. You are in your prime. You're the youngest one. Brady's 41, 42 years old, and out there had a way better game than you did. So there's no more conversation about it. But we could talk about it on Friday. But it's one of those things, man. You just gotta. I'm about championships, man, or going to playoffs deep. At least it's good to have winning seasons. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to be a losing. Like, look, right now Belichick's under scrutiny because he's losing. But when you're used to winning championships, I don't want you just to go out there and win all the fucking time and not get to the Super Bowl or not get far in the postseason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That just means you dominate your division or you dominate the conference. And how long is that going to take before you run out of people you dominate and then now you start losing? So, I mean, again, no disrespect. I like Tomlin. I like the organization. So, I don't know about him leaving because, I mean, bro, I think it's because of him why they're still winning. But maybe like you're saying, if you're trying to go further, like what is it going to take for him to win another Super Bowl? I think it was you that said it or somebody said to Bree one time, he inherited Ben Roethlisberger. He didn't draft him. He that was Bill Cowher's team that just happened to carry over, kind of like John Gruden down when he won the Super Bowl with the Bucs in 2002, I think it was. He didn't build that team. That team was built by Tony Dungy, I think it was, or somebody, and he got it. He inherited it. You know what I'm saying? So, and they won a Super Bowl the following year. So, I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what's up, how it goes. You got anything else you want to talk
about? Man, just one last thing, man, and I wanted to get your opinion on this because now that the end of the season is coming around and the and the exposure to certain players are obviously hitting, right? If you had to name an NFL MVP today, who would it be?
Oh man, today. So I would probably go. Tyreek Hill, man, because of what he's been doing, and we see his impact, man. You know, he went from Mahomes to Tua. His numbers ain't dropped. They've gotten better. He's on pace to beat the record, I think, still. Receiving record in one season. So I mean, I would go with him. If it had to go to a quarterback, then I would go Lamar. But I'm tired of them giving them quarterbacks. If that's the case, make the quarterback of the year and leave the MVP as a free fall for everybody, not just quarterbacks all the time. So I would go Tyreek Hill, man. I would go Tyreek Hill.
Yeah. You know, I hate to say it too, man. I wasn't gonna give it to a quarterback because I was watching God, Lee, what's that show called, man? Aaron Rodgers be on the podcast.
Oh, Pat McAfee
Uh,
show?
yeah. So I was watching that earlier today, and it was pretty interesting. So even Aaron Rodgers said, "Are we gonna give the MVP to another quarterback because it's a quarterback-driven MVP league, or are we gonna give CMC an opportunity or a Tyreek Hill?" You know, which was kind of cool for him to say something like that. Um, and as much as I would love to give it to Tyreek Hill, we're also, I mean, not Tyreek Hill, CMC and Tyreek Hill, and now Lamar just appears out of nowhere because dang, you know, he is something that Frank doesn't 100% agree with when it comes to a quarterback. He is something that I like as a quarterback, right? And he's kind of meshing at the right time, and he's peaking at the right time in the NFL and driving his team in the right direction in the NFL. So if I had to give, and I hate to give it to a quarterback in the situation because I feel like it's just another quarterback, but I think he's taking that team in the right direction, and he's doing it with you know less mistakes. And that's why I would have to go with Lamar. But let's not forget about Aaron Rodgers said this name earlier, and I completely didn't even think about it, which was Mostert from
Raheem
from
Mostert, yeah, Miami, yeah. So Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna tell you what I like about Lamar, and Lamar is humble. He remember his negotiation. He wasn't making a lot of noise. He go play the game. He's accountable for when he doesn't play good. You could tell in his face that he takes it on, and his shoulders that that burden's there when the team doesn't play. Yeah, I like pocket passer quarterbacks, but Lamar can throw the ball. You know what I'm saying? Lamar can
yeah
throw the ball, and we know he can throw the ball. So, if he got it, I wouldn't be too upset because I know that it's because of him that team is moving. I just want to see somebody else besides a quarterback get it. And I think the players need to really speak out on that, like Aaron Rodgers did, because it's not fair, man. It's not fair. You got people. So to me, if I'm a player, why am I going out there and rush and catch uh, uh, as a receiver, have over 2,200 yards receiving in a season if I'm not even going to get looked at? If I'm a running back, why am I going to try to go kill myself to get 2,000 plus yards in a season if it ain't going to matter, or get touchdowns if it's not going to matter at the end of the day and it's going to go to a quarterback all the time?
right
So, but yeah, I think Tyreek, CMC, Tyreek, Mostert, Lamar, they're all there. I never thought about Mostert because I didn't know his numbers, but we know that he's big down in Miami and he's doing good. So I mean, to me, any one of those guys would be good, but I would love to see a non-quarterback get it this year.
yeah me too um so I don't know. Yeah, that
That's
was all that I had. That was all that I had. I thought it was an interesting situation, and we'll see. I think this whole MVP thing this year is going to be pretty interesting. So we'll see. We'll see who they select.
yeah. I want to see what they select too. What's going on? Let's see how it goes down. We got a few more weeks to go, so we'll see. But if that's it, man, this is Offside Podcast with Jun and Frank. Again, the main thing is the play call. We just branching out, doing our own thing. Expect it to come out weekly, and we're gonna adjust as it comes along. Subscribe, like, share. It's gonna be on Spotify. Once I set it all up, expect it to come out in a couple of days. So we'll be moving in that direction too. June.
Nah, man. The first episode, was pretty dope. Something outside the norm. Gets us a little bit more. I hear a little bit more frequently, and we got some time in our hands, especially when you got two retired mofo's, doing something that we like to do. So that's pretty dope. And like Frank said, we'll probably venture out with some other things, and for you boxing fans out there, sorry that Wilder lost, and now it's just going to completely change the game in the heavyweight world, because now I don't even know what's going to happen. It's a welterweight division. I think the boxing, the Tyson Fury Wilder era kind of took over boxing for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and it took the spotlight away from their welterweight division and lightweight division. But I think it's right back where it was beforehand.
Yeah.
But yep, that's all that I got, Frank.
All right, man. Well, listen, this Offsides podcast. See you next week. Peace.
Peace.